Hey everyone, Shabby here, and welcome to our next episode of Throwdown here in the SWE Universe mode. We've got a massive championship match for you in our main event this evening, as Jay Lethal defends his United States Championship against, of course, whoever you have voted for in our recent Twitter poll. And here we go with the card. We have a couple of dark matches here this evening. The current Throwdown champion Kevin Owens has defeated Neville one-on-one. And Charlotte and Dana Brooke finally got a victory as a tag team as they defeated Marty Bell and the current Mayhem champion Jade. Very interesting there. We've got 4 more matches set for you this evening. I won't go through the list because you'll see the special match. But as you can see, we've got Bobby Roode and James Storm Beer Money taking on the Ascension to start things off in an Extreme Rules Tornado match. We've got Pete Dunne versus Pentagon Jr. Kairi Hojo taking on Bayley, and that is a #1 contendership for the Mayhem Women's Championship. And just on the right hand side there, Bray Wyatt takes on Jake the Snake Roberts. And of course, his dastardly Wyatt family will be at ringside. Then of course, we do have the main event for you. Jay Lethal defending his United States Championship against the person you have voted for in the poll from last week. So without further ado, let's get straight into our opening match. And here we go. Our opening match of the evening. And this is a little bit of a teaser to you guys. This is going to be the vote this week, and it is going to be who will go on to face off against a Sumerian Death Squad for the Tag Team Championships at our upcoming pay-per-view, which I still have not decided on a name for. I need to soon, because it's next week, isn't it? We've started setting matches up, that's not a problem. We just we need to come up with a name for the pay-per-view. It's going to be a big one. We're going to have a 16-man tournament there as well, as, of course, defending every single championship in the company. So the winner of that United States Championship match this evening, be it Jay Lethal or be it his challenger, will have to defend that belt once again next weekend. So, yeah, like I was saying, the poll for this episode of Throwdown is going to be the #1 contendership for the Tag Team Championships here on Throwdown. So, essentially, we are going to see Beer Money, who picked up a massive win last week against the Revival, the Ascension, the Revival themselves, and am I missing anyone? So I'm just plucking names out on top of my head, and I don't want to miss anyone who I really want to put in there. So what do we have? Beer Money, yeah, definite. Yeah, we'll go my first one. So Beer Money, Ascension, Revival, or Death by Elbow. So, of course, we know Beer Money is Bobby Roode and James Storm. The Ascension here, Connor and Victor. The Revival, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. And Death by Elbow, Cassius Ono and JT Dunne. So that poll will be over on Twitter. If not now, then very, very soon. Go over there and vote on that one. We only got 7 votes on the poll for this week. For the championship match later on this evening. God, you could do better than 7 votes, surely. Come on, people. That'll be over. It will be pinned at the top of my list. If you do want to scan down all my tweets, you will find some other polls as well for Mayhem, Showdown and Octane. So be sure to check a vote on those as well if you want to. And obviously take control of the Universe mode wherever you can. So this is a Tornado Extreme Rules match. So no countouts, no submissions are good. No countouts, no disqualifications. All men are legal. And basically the only way to win is pinfall or submission within the confines of the ring. And so far, as you can see, Beer Money in full control. Now, the Ascension I have given a little bit of a buff to in this Universe mode because I'm a fan of the Ascension. And I know everyone's going to probably take the mick at me for that, but I remember the Ascension as the dominant tag team in NXT when I first started watching NXT. They had the really cool entrance. They were a dominant heel tag team. It was great. And then they got moved onto the main roster. And for some reason, they tried to tweak them a little bit. And they went from being these dark, demonic heels who didn't talk. They just did all of their stuff with actions. And then they tried to put this little bit of face paint on them. And they tried to have them do promos about how they're better than Demolition and Legion of Doom and this, that, and the other. If they'd just come onto the main roster and did what they were doing on NXT, it would have worked, in my opinion. They did do okay. They've had a little bit of a push recently, not noticeable. But they... What was it? They were the last team eliminated in the Tag Team Turmoil match at Elimination Chamber. They picked up a victory on the SmackDown before Elimination Chamber. They actually picked up a pinfall victory, which is something sort of unheard of by the Ascension for quite some time. So hopefully the SmackDown writers are sort of seeing that they could have a pretty damn good heel tag team if they use them correctly. And that's hopefully what I am going to be doing here on this Universe mode. So like I said, they are on that poll. However, Beer Money, a massive victory last week on their return against the Revival. If they pick up another win here this evening, then, wow, they should be #1 contenders either way, shouldn't they, really, depending on the vote. But of course, the power is in your hands. However, I feel that Beer Money will probably be a very strong contender. Very popular tag team, aren't they? But then again, you've got the Revival also to think about, and you've got Death by Elbow, Cassius Ohno and JT Dunne. So there's a lot of great talent in that poll, and really, it's all up to you guys who you want to see go for those tag team championships next weekend at the pay-per-view. I keep saying next weekend. I mean next weekend on game terms. I'm not trying to keep to the weekly schedules in the game anymore because it's just too much for me to do in 1 week. So I am trying to upload a video every other day, but because I'm slightly behind at the moment, we are going to have 3 episodes in 3 days, I think this would have been. And that should put us back on track. Yeah, the pay-per-view is going to be interesting. Like I said, it is probably going to end up being a 4 or 5 part pay-per-view, but it's going to be done on like separate days, if that makes sense. So we'll see like the first round matches on the first 2 days with a couple of non-tournament matches, then we'll see the second round matches with a non-tournament match or 2. But like I said, every single championship will be on the line across those episodes as well. So we'll see all 4 Throwdown championships, all 4 Mayhem championships, both of the Throwdown and both of the Octane championships as well. And I think we've got #1 contenders on most of those belts now, so we should be pretty good. I think the only ones we're missing from Throwdown are the tag team championships, of course, which you guys are voting on, and the women's championship, which we'll see later on this evening. Bobby Roode there with a glorious DDT, in for the pin, 2. Wow. Dominant victory once again for Beer Money, not being paid by the hour evidently, as they go in and get the job done very, very quickly. Wow, 2 big victories for Beer Money in 2 weeks. So like I said, the power is in your hands now. Nip over to Twitter. There will be a link in the description below, and it should be the pinned tweet at the top of my page. Who do you want to face off against the Sumerian Death Squad at the pay-per-view? Will it be Beer Money, the Revival, Death by Elbow, or the Ascension? The power is in your hands. And like I said, nip down the rest of the page on that Twitter as well, and you will find other polls for Mayhem, Throwdown and Octane as well, more than likely. And here is match number 2 of the evening. It is going to be Pete Dunne taking on Pentagon Jr. And here we go then. A very interesting match. I believe this match is actually happening in the UK this week. I believe Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, who, believe it or not, I was surprised when I found that. I don't know why I was surprised. But Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix are actually brothers in real life. A little bit of random trivia there for you. Yeah, both Pentagon and Phoenix no longer are contracted to AAA, and they are now working the indie scene. And both of them are working What Culture Pro Wrestling this week. I think they were working together though, whereas now they're going out and about into the UK indie scene while they're over in the country. And I believe Pentagon is scheduled to face off against Pete Dunne somewhere. It could be, and I was going to say Wrestle Circus, but Pete Dunne's not allowed on Wrestle Circus anymore because he is. What am I trying to say? He is part of WWE, and Wrestle Circus are online, so they've got a streaming service, so he's not allowed to work for those. Pete Dunne's not allowed to work for any company that has a streaming service apart from ones that WWE pre-approved, so they can't work What Culture, they can't work Wrestle Circus, and I think there's a couple of others, but I think they are allowed to work Progress and ICW. I think they're the only shows they're allowed to work that are streamed. I'm not 100% sure on that. You guys probably have better knowledge than that than me, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know where it is then. I'll just scan it from my Twitter now while I'm talking crap to see if I can find it, because it has been advertised quite a lot. Wrestle Circus. Oh wow, Wrestle Circus. That is a hell of a match. Wrestle Circus in the UK have just announced Brian Cage versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara. I can't pronounce that. Brian Cage versus Zack Sabre Jr. That's a very interesting combination of styles. We could do that, couldn't we? We could do that, but I haven't got Brian Cage on this. I did try and get Brian Cage, but it's so difficult to get a decent core. There was loads of, like, veiny Hulk-looking people, but I couldn't seem to find anyone that looked remotely like him. So I'll have to have another look around so I can find a better Brian Cage, because I'm a big Brian Cage fan. So yeah, I'd like to get him involved in this universe mode. But this is very interesting. That's his new name now, isn't it? Penta El Cierro Miedo. He's not called Pentagon anymore, because that is a AAA copyright, I think. It'd be interesting, there's two bruiserweights of such. Both of them are part of our Octane show, the Cruiserweight show, but both don't have a very Cruiserweight style, do they? They're much more sort of brawlers than high flyers, really. Then again, Pentagon Jr., you can't really put him in a box, because he has so many different styles. He can do powerhouse moves, he can do lucha libre moves, he can do... That was a big move that was by Pete Dunne, the gorilla press into the uppercut. Yeah, Pentagon, he's a submission specialist. He can just about do anything, really. Good striker. I'm a massive Pentagon fan. And I would like to have seen him in the UK. It's just that some of these shows now... I was looking actually earlier because they've announced that King of Trios is going to take place in the UK. And it's literally about 40 minutes from my house it's taking place. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to go to that. Then I looked at the ticket prices and my God, is it expensive. Like, front row... I know, obviously, front row is going to be expensive, but front row for King of Trios, there's 3 nights. You can't buy it as a package deal. You have to buy each ticket individually, but front row is £75 a day per person. £75. I'm pretty sure myself and PJ Toby went to TNA front row for cheaper than 75 quid. Granted, it's TNA, but still, Shikara, I understand Shikara needs to cover their costs, because doing King of Trios in the UK is going to be very expensive for them. They've got to hire a venue, they've got to hire a ring, because they can't obviously bring the ring with them. They've got to fly across a lot of talent, not only from places such as Japan and stuff like that, but they've got to fly all their American talent over to the UK as well, so it's going to be tricky for them. And when I say Japan, it's because nothing's been announced yet, I don't think, for King of Trios, but there has been quite a few announcements in the UK for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega on several shows, and it's roughly the same time as King of Trios. So I think it's pretty obvious that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks will be part of the King of Trios here in the UK, but I can't afford to go. Even if you go for general admission every day, I think general admission was 30 quid, and to be stood at the back for 30 quid a day for 3 days, it's nearly 100 quid. Once you buy drinks and food and all that sort of stuff there, and you're bound to buy some merch as well, you're looking at an incredibly expensive day, aren't you, really? But it would have been pretty cool. I would imagine we might get like a Lucha Libre team in there, maybe Pentagon, Phoenix, and somebody else. Pete Dunne there, showing he does have some cruiserweight style to him, and he does have some cruiserweight style. It's very interesting. I like Pete Dunne. I had him down from the very beginning as my sort of cert to win the UK tournament, and he didn't win it, but well, he didn't win the championship, but in my opinion, I think that Pete Dunne won that event, really. I think he's the one who's probably going to come out with the biggest career. I think Tyler Bate's going to do well. He seems to get over quite well, Tyler Bate, with the NXT crowd when he had his debut, I believe. I've not seen it yet, to be honest, but I believe from what I read on the reviews and so forth from the recordings that Tyler Bate did really get over, especially doing his airplane spin, as well as Pentagon Jr. takes Pete Dunne up into a package pile driver, in for the pin. This could be enough to finish the match off. 1, 2, and 3 it is. Pentagon Jr., big victory here on Throwdown over Pete Dunne. And Pentagon Jr. is someone that I see not being confined to Octane or not being confined to the Cruiserweight division. I would like to see Pentagon at some point come back here onto Throwdown, maybe have a high-profile feud, which we will do some proper feuds after the first pay-per-view. Maybe even have an opportunity at that United States Championship at some point. And here is our next match of the evening. It is going to be a #1 contendership match for the Throwdown Women's Championship as Kairi Hojo takes on Bayley. And here we go. Interesting match, this one. So I'm just flicking through the Shikara page now to see if it announces anybody for that King of Trios. It doesn't look like anyone has been announced as of yet, apart from the Sendai girls, who I'm not quite sure who they are, to tell the truth. Who are the Sendai girls? They're pretty cool, actually. Does it say who they are? Brace yourself, the Sendai girls are coming. House Sendai girls. Oh, there we go. I can click on, they've got a Twitter page. Let's see who it is. Time for me to butcher some more names. It took me long enough. Oh my god, it's all written in. I can't even read that. It's not even written in English. Well, it's not even written in the actual bits that I'm used to. What am I trying to say? I can't know what I'm saying. Who are the Sendai girls then? Alright, Google. Sendai. If I type this in, it's not going to come up with dodgy stuff, is it? Sendai girls sounds like something that might come up with something dodgy. Wacky waving inflatable arm troop man. I can never remember what it is. I can never remember what it is. Right. Oh, there's quite a few of them. I do not recognise any of the names, to be honest. Oh, it is actually it's a very small company by the looks of it. Yeah, it's a promotion. However, the roster only consists of 5 people, according to Wikipedia, which is not very good, is it really? So I still haven't got a clue then, basically. I've not gained anything from looking at this little Google adventure to who the Sendai girls are. I don't recognise any of them, but then again, I don't know why I would recognise them, if that makes sense. Translate from Japanese, yes please. That has literally changed nothing. Nothing at all. Right, so this match is underway. Kairi Hojo is actually a very good wrestler. If you don't know much about her, oh, there we go. Okay. It has been translated into English now, but still, it's just the way it's written. Like, I've got no idea. Let's call a fairy. Okay, this just doesn't sound like it's going to help me too much, does it? Ah, there we go. Akiko Satomura. Looks like she is the only wrestler there. Somebody called Dash. Is that you? I have no idea. I don't recognise any of these, to be honest with you. She's definitely on there. Cassandra Miyagi. She looks pretty cool. She's got a bit sort of like punk. I like that. I like a bit of punk. Right, I'm going to ignore that now because there's more important things than trying to figure out who 3 Japanese ladies are wrestling at Shikara next month. This, of course, is for the opportunity to face off against Jade at our upcoming pay-per-view, which is still yet to be named. Maybe that's just what I'll call it, yet to be named. Insert name here. Well, maybe you guys can help me out. Have you guys got any suggestions for what we can call a pay-per-view with a 16-man tournament in there that's going to span several days? I want to try and stay away because my original plan was to call it the Battle of Los Angeles. And then I thought to myself, I don't really want to rip anyone off. I'd like to have our own name. So then I thought about the King of Pro Wrestling, which I thought was a fantastic idea, until a couple of people mentioned that King of Pro Wrestling is actually a New Japan pay-per-view, to which I completely forgot. That's probably where I got the idea from. Bayley to belly there by Bayley. Is this going to be enough? No, it's not. It's only a 2 count. Yes, I was going to call it the King of Pro Wrestling, and then, yeah, we found out that's actually a real show. So I'm a little bit stumped at the moment. I'm trying to think of something that's original, but not too outside the box. It doesn't make sense, which is difficult because I think a lot of stuff has been done now. And it is going to be a joint competition across both Throwdown and Mayhem. So yeah, if you've got any ideas, then let me know in the comment section below if we can find one that makes sense, and sounds good, then we'll definitely use it. And it's going to be a good little pay-per-view. Like I said, it's going to be a 5-dayer. It's probably going to be a 5-dayer, I reckon, to get all the tournament matches and all the championship matches, and then maybe a few sort of special matches as well. We might have a couple of cross-promotional matches just for a bit of fun. I think that'd be pretty fun. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you want to see? What do you think the name should be? Big spear there by Kairi Hojo, and that could be enough here for Kairi to get that #1 contendership. There's the pin. 1, 2. No, Bayley kicks out. Both these girls doing very, very well in this match. Really showing great resilience and great offense as well, really. Hurricanrana there by Bayley, taking Kairi Hojo down. Brings her back up to her feet, and now Bayley hooking in for that suplex. As my computer makes a beeping noise, not quite sure what that means. Oh. I've lost my screen. What's going on? Come on, people, what's going on? This keeps happening. I've got like a... Ever since I brought this computer, it always seems to want to update some software. And it goes a bit crazy. Right, I'm back in. Oh, I'm back in just in time for a Bayley to belly. That could be enough. 1, 2... No! Kairi Hojo kicks out once again. Wow. That girl is showing some resilience to kick out of 2 Bayley to bellies. That is pretty insane. Bayley now rolling Kairi Hojo over. I believe I'm pronouncing that correct now. I did Google it, didn't I? I Googled it individually on like pronunciation Japanese websites, and it did come out that I was doing it right. So I'm sort of happy about that. Hey, we want some Bayley. Bayley's doing really well, actually. I think Kairi Hojo is the highest rated female we have on this roster, from my knowledge. Suplex again there by Bayley. As it's all going crazy on my computer now. I'm just about getting by. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, here we go. So Bayley is still in full control of this match at the moment. 2 Bayley to bellies takes the toll out on anybody, and Kairi Hojo is struggling to get back into this match. I think she looks pretty cool, Kairi Hojo. She's called the Pirate Princess, I believe, from previous Googling. I've not really seen her wrestle before, but I'm pretty sure I will do very soon, because I believe that she, along with Io Shirai, who is over on PJ Toby's Mayhem, are both in Lucha Underground now. Bayley finally does get the victory, and Bayley will face off against Jade next week at our pay-per-view, yet to be named, for the Women's Championship here over on Throwdown. Wow. That's a lot of talking. I annoy myself with the amount of talking I do sometimes, you know. So we've still got 2 big matches coming up for you now. We do have Bray Wyatt versus Jake Roberts, I believe, coming up next. But then again, of course, remember we do have that big main event for you this evening. Jay Lethal defends his United States Championship against the person you guys chose in the poll from last week. But who would that be? I was right, it is going to be Wyatt versus Jake Roberts next. Of course, Wyatt will have his full family at ringside. Tell you what, these matches are quite good to do because they're computer versus computer. It does not take too long to load. Whereas some of them take ages. If I do a tag team match, if I do a tag team championship match between 2 custom tag teams, both with custom entrances in a custom arena with custom tag team belts, it can take like 4 or 5 minutes to load. It really does take a long time. It really does. I'm still looking through to see if I can find who it was that's booked Pete Dunne versus Pentagon. I can't see it though. To get some such good pictures. What's this? This is Kamikaze Pro UK. There's a picture of Andrew Everett mid shooting star press crossbody on El Ligero. I remember being in a really tight arena once. I think it was Huntingdon. And I think it was Johnny Gargano. And Johnny Gargano did a dive to the outside on El Ligero. And Ligero dodged it. But as Ligero dodged it, nobody realised there was a little girl walking up the aisle behind Ligero. And Johnny Gargano just wiped her out. She must have only been like 7 or 8. There was Ribena everywhere, I tell you. She was fine. There's nothing wrong. She didn't even cry. She was a little bit shaken up because she got suicide dived by by Johnny Gargano. She was going to be pretty freaked out, weren't she? But no, she was fine. It was just such a weird thing to happen. Nobody quite knew how to. Oh my God, there's actually got 4 people in the entrance of Wyatt family. But the only stable I think that works for 4 people in the entrance. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't think that was going to work. To tell the truth, having all 4 of them coming out. They're not in the right positions. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, they're not in the right positions, but still, it does the trick, doesn't it? Yeah, she got completely wiped out by Gargano. That was the same thing. I don't know if you've ever seen that video on my channel. It was the very first video I think I uploaded on this channel. And it was a video of Johnny Gargano chopping a fan. And Kevin Owens was egging Gargano on. Owens was there as well. And it was I recorded it myself on my phone when I was there. And it was a weird moment. It was such a weird event because it was such a small little place as well. It was tiny. Literally, if you can see it on the game now, you've got the ring and you've got the barrier around the ring. Basically, the barrier around the ring was the walls of the room. And we were all sat single file along the wall. And then, like, down one end, there was like 4 or 5 other rows. It was such a small little place. And it's amazing because that was one of the first sort of shows me and my friend went to for Southside Wrestling. And since then, now, they're getting like easily 300-400 people per show now. It's amazing how they've grown in the last few years. Then again, UK wrestling itself has grown so much in the last 5 years. UK wrestling has just gone up tenfold, I think. With some of the exports we've sent out, like Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay, for example, 2 of the probably biggest ones. Got Tyler Bate now and Pete Dunne as part of the up-and-comers. There's a lot, isn't there? And Jimmy Havoc yesterday was announced for Combat Zone Wrestling's Tournament of Death this year. I believe it's the first time he's been in the Tournament of Death as well, so that's pretty good for him. It just shows now that it's not a case of the UK shows having to import talent from the UK. They're now doing it the way around as well. Just look at PWG. They're importing the UK, well, not just UK, just European talent in general for their shows. You think sort of Tommy End and Zack Sabre Jr. got a lot of work, didn't they? In 2015, 2016 with WWE before, of course, Tommy End signed with WWE. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is still there. I think it's Zack Sabre Jr. versus Marty Scurll at their next pay-per-view for the championship, isn't it? Where are the Wyatt family? Do they stand? I think they stand slightly up the ramp, don't they? I believe. Which is where they're stood in real life, isn't it? When they're part of it. Of course, the Wyatt family is no longer together in real life, but I just thought it would be better off to draft them as a stable. Plus, I'm a bit anal and I really want to have an even amount of stables on our draft, which is why we did this. Saying that, we've got an even amount of stables, yet the only stable not picked, I believe, was the New Day. The New Day just still sat there in limbo. Basically, what I've got, though, is I've got another show, which obviously I don't upload, and it's just literally all the guys that were unpicked. So they're still there, they're still earning momentum and all sorts. So should me or PJ Tovey decide to dip into that pool, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it. I don't think we're going to do it for free. I think we're going to have to maybe win the opportunity to do so, or maybe we can trade in and out. Maybe if I've drafted someone that I'm not too sure on anymore, or I'm not using, I can maybe swap them out for somebody from the undrafted pool. Something on them lines, maybe. So, of course, if you've not seen it already, Bray Wyatt is the new WWE Champion, winning the belt at the Elimination Chamber, which was probably the least surprising thing ever to happen in wrestling. It was, we all knew it was going to happen for some time before the Chamber. Well, I say some time. Ever since Randy Orton won the Rumble, we all knew that Bray was going to win the Chamber. It was just obvious, wasn't it? And I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. I would have, if I was writing that, I would have left Cena out of the championship picture altogether. I would have had Randy Orton challenge AJ Styles for the championship at the Rumble, win the championship at the Rumble, Bray Wyatt then win the Rumble match itself, and then have Randy Orton successfully defend the belt at the Elimination Chamber, then build it up that way, and then have Bray Wyatt win his first championship at WrestleMania. That would have made more sense to me. Because I don't feel that they were going to take the belt away from Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. I just don't think it's... I don't think there's much point. I don't think there's much point at all. For me, Bray has to keep a hold of that belt. It would harm his character to win the championship and hold it for literally 7 weeks before WrestleMania. Bray, so unique on this game. It's pretty cool to have him, actually. I'm quite glad I picked him. And here he is lining up the Sister Abigail on Jake the Snake Roberts. And that could be all. There's the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And it is all. Wow. Another convincing victory here this evening. I think quite a few convincing victories here this evening. Not many people put up much of a fight, apart from the Bayley versus Kairi Hojo match. All the matches so far have been pretty much one-sided, and Bray doing very well here. What does the future hold for Bray? Maybe again something you guys can comment on down below. Do you see Bray in our universe mode as potentially being up on the upper echelons alongside the Okadas, Omegas, Tanahashi, Kevin Owens? Do you see him along them sort of lines, or do you see him maybe a little bit lower down, fighting for the United States Championship, of course, along with guys like Jay Lethal? Or, again, I don't know where we see Adam Cole or Cody Rhodes either. Those are guys, again, we could see main event, we could see United States Championship. It's so difficult because we've got such a good roster. I think we're literally just going to have to go with whoever we feel at the time, or maybe just do some big matches and see whoever gets the opportunity by winning those matches. And here we go into our main event of the evening. The following match is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the Throwdown United States Championship. Introducing first, the man who you all voted for on the Twitter poll with a renounding 72%, I think it was. Of course, that is Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, I'm pretty sure only 7 people voted last week on the Throwdown poll, and I was one of them, so I'm sure you guys could do better than 6 people, surely. We've got like over 100 people watching the video. Surely more of you can just click on that link in the description below and go over there and place your vote on who you want to see do certain things. Of course, this week's vote, as we've already discussed, is going to be for which team gets a shot at the Throwdown Tag Team Championships at our pay-per-view next week. We've got Beer Money, The Revival, The Ascension, and, of course, Death by Elbow as well. So definitely go over there and check that poll out. And you'll also find polls over there for Mayhem and Showdown and Octane as well. So lots of stuff that you guys can get involved in. For example, I wasn't going to make this match. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that you guys have made this match, but I had in my mind maybe Macho Man Randy Savage versus Jay Lethal, the sort of Black Machismo versus the Macho Man would have been pretty cool. But then again, Jay Lethal one-on-one with Shinsuke Nakamura is a match that may have actually happened. Thinking about it, just as I'm chatting away, may have actually happened. Let me just Google Jay Lethal versus Shinsuke Nakamura. So, Jay Lethal versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Ooh, nope. Shinsuke Nakamura and Jay Lethal team together. Shinsuke Nakamura and Jay Lethal brought to WWE. Global Wars 15. Jay Lethal, nope. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated ACH. It looks like they've been on the same card quite a few times. They've teamed together. Red Dragon versus Jay Lethal and Shinsuke Nakamura back in 2015. Nakamura versus Liger versus Jay Lethal versus Mark Briscoe. Okay, if they were, the faced each other in a fatal 4-way then. Okay, so I can't see, just Googling it, I can't see any specific times when Jay Lethal has faced Nakamura one-on-one. Like I said, there has been a fatal 4-way in Ring of Honor a couple of years ago, which they may have clashed, but this will be a first chance for us to see these two guys in the ring together. And of course it is for that United States Championship there that Jay Lethal holds. The belt that he won in a fatal 4-way match in our very first episode of Throwdown. Now that's my memory. He actually beat Shinsuke Nakamura, Tetsuya Naito and Cody Rhodes in that fatal 4-way match. And now this is his first championship defense. Will it be a successful defense, or will Shinsuke Nakamura move that championship away from Jay Lethal? And of course, the winner of this will have to go on to defend this championship at the pay-per-view next week, like we've said. And of course, if you didn't watch all of the last match, then I have put the task out to you guys to comment down below at potential names for that pay-per-view for us, because I'm really struggling. Like I said, I was going to use Battle of Los Angeles, but then I decided I didn't want to rip anyone off. Then I had this wonderful idea of using the King of Pro Wrestling until people reminded me that King of Pro Wrestling is actually a New Japan pay-per-view. So I just want to have a name for a pay-per-view. It is going to be a tournament. It is going to last probably 4 or 5 days. 16-man tournament. So yeah, any suggestions for names for the pay-per-view, then drop them down in the comments section below. Would be more than appreciated. If we get some really good ones, then that's what we will name the first pay-per-view. So Jay Lethal hands over the belt. He's only held the belt for 2 weeks. This is his 3rd week holding it now. Right, I'm pretty sure this game's trying to kill me off, you know. Right, I've changed the goalposts. This is now a Falls Count Anywhere match. I had to do it. Falls Count Anywhere match. Basically, I've just had such a hellacious time recording this match. I really have. This is attempt number 5 to record this match now. We've had 2 end in a double count out. And for some reason, the game is intent on throwing out Mayhem stars into the match over and over again. If it was a Throwdown star, I wouldn't mind so much. But no, it's just throwing out Mayhem after Mayhem after Mayhem guy. And it's just doing my head in. So I made it Falls Count Anywhere. That should mean that we get no double count outs. And I'm pretty sure you can't have interference on Falls Count Anywhere matches either. So I'm pretty sure this will be our final attempt at recording this match, as long as we get a decent finish. This game just it's trying to kill me off. That's what it is. It's trying to take the. It's not even a game anymore. It's more of a job now, I think. Right. Enough of me blabbing on and moaning about crap, because you guys won't hear me moaning about this game anymore. What was I talking about? I can't remember what I've been talking about now. I think I was talking about, I don't know if I put this in the entrance or one of my previous matches, but these two guys never really faced each other one-on-one before. I found a match from back in Ring of Honor a couple of years ago where they faced off against each other in a fatal 4-way, but nothing I can see that was one-on-one. I don't think there's been a lot, has there? I think Nakamura faced off against, from what I can see, Nakamura faced ACH, and he faced Kevin Owens in 2 years worth of the Global Wars. And then he had that Fatal 4-way match at some point as well. So there's not been a lot of cross-promotional work for Nakamura, but of course he did join WWE last year, so as cross-promotional work has continued on, he hasn't really. Jay Lethal really developed so much over the last few years, and now is a major force over in Ring of Honor. Former Ring of Honor television champion, multi-time television champion, and former Ring of Honor world champion as well. I believe Adam Cole is the current world champion of Ring of Honor. He's the first ever 3-time world champion of Ring of Honor. He won that right at the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom, didn't he, this year? Great reverse dragon sleeper hold there by Shinsuke Nakamura on Jay Lethal. But Lethal fights his way free. And a big running dropkick right in the face of Shinsuke Nakamura, now dropping a double elbows into the gut as well. And now Lethal going up high. We know he likes to utilize that Macho Man style big elbow. Is that what he's going to go for here? Looks like it might be, actually. It is. He went for it very early, but a bit too early because Nakamura was not sufficiently weakened, and he manages to roll out the way. Nakamura now catching Lethal into a reverse Regalplex. Nakamura, probably not the best idea to take your eyes off someone like Jay Lethal. He's a very experienced combatant, and taking your eyes off someone like that can allow them the time they need to recuperate. Maybe not enough time though. Kinshasa out of nowhere, and Nakamura could be the first person to win a championship away from somebody else in this universe mode. Oh my god, Lethal kicked out. Lethal kicked out on the brink of 3. That was really close. But it seems to have spurred Lethal on a little bit as he's back up on his feet now. I have no idea what he just tried to do there, but he landed flat on his face. Lethal now bringing Nakamura back up. Oh, and sent him all the way to the ground outside, of course. Remember, this is Falls Count Anywhere, so these will count. And there's Lethal going for the pin. Nakamura did hit the ground pretty hard, but not hard enough. Both guys slowly get back up to their feet. Lethal now sending Nakamura into the ring steps. And just casually walking back and forth as you do. Someone's got a sign in the background that says "This is excitement." That's a weird sign, isn't it? Not even "This is awesome," just "This is excitement." Super kick there by Jay Lethal on the outside. Oh, that caught Nakamura. That really busted him open. Nakamura really just spewing blood, and if anything, it seems to have spurred him on a bit though. Then big right hands, and now Lethal goes down. Lethal's been busted open as well. Nakamura going for the pin though after that big forearm. Not quite enough to take Lethal out though. And blood everywhere now. Both these guys profusely bleeding from the forehead. Why the announce table's got a different colour top? I didn't do that. That's weird, isn't it? Jay Lethal, Northern Light suplex, bridges to the pin. One. Only a 1 count. Wow, the referee was quite slow down though. Lethal here just staring down at the grounded Nakamura. I think Lethal's trying to get some energy back himself. It's been quite a difficult match so far. And of course, when you are bleeding, it's liquid energy running out of your body. It does make things a lot more difficult. Wow. And there goes Nakamura over the barrier, and Lethal follows him. And now they're into the crowd. There's a rather strange looking skinny kid there. And somebody wearing a Jake the Snake Roberts t-shirt. That's pretty cool, because they only wrestled here this evening. And the fight is now up into this corner area. Crowd here that paid for the cheap seats and ended up with front row tickets now. Front row tickets to potentially a championship title change. Remember, I did make this Falls Count Anywhere just to stop me from getting annoyed from different ways this game buggered up. Oh, big chair shot right to the face there. Oh, and you can see the blood on the chair as well there as Nakamura really clouted Jay Lethal with that. Now Nakamura catching Lethal into the release. Regalplex onto the concrete. And Nakamura's back must be in some pain as Nakamura now lining up Jay Lethal. Nakamura vibrating, and there's the Kinshasa. And we are surely going to see our first title change in this universe mode. 2 and 3. We do have a brand new United States champion. Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Jay Lethal here on Throwdown. Wow. It was actually a really good match in the end. I quite enjoyed that. It was a bit of work getting here, don't get me wrong, for the game faffing us about with interruptions from Triple H and Finn Balor from Mayhem, but we finally got there and we do a brand new champion. Our first championship defense in the universe mode ends with a title change. And of course, this was initiated by you guys. You voted for Nakamura to be in this match, and he has now won the championship. Now, Nakamura will have to defend that at the pay-per-view next week. Maybe Jay Lethal will get a rematch, but maybe he won't. We'll figure that out next week, I think. But that is the end of this week's episode of Throwdown. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do let me know by hitting that like button down below. It does really help me out. And of course, if you are new around here and you would like to see some more, then please do hit that subscribe button as well. Also, you can see a link to the playlist in the description below. Also in the description below, you've got a link to the blogger page for all the news and all the updates for the universe mode and all the results if you miss anything. And of course, please go over and vote on that poll over on Twitter for who you want to face off against the Sumerian Death Squad for the Tag Team Championships. 6 votes last week. Come on, guys. You can do better than that. You can do better than 6 votes. I know you can. I know you can. I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon for some more WWE 2K17 or SWE 2K17 Universe Mode.